Sniper Wolf was born sometime between 1976 and 1985. She was raised in the middle of a violent guerrilla conflict between the Kurds and the Iraq regime led by Saddam Hussein. Wolf was forced to move from shelter to shelter and would wake up in the middle of the night to find another member of her friends or family dead beside her. Wolf would later be trained by a guerrilla faction who would teach her a good number of tactics when it came to sniping, and would eventually meet up with Big Boss, who saw great potential and talent within her. Big Boss would bring the young Wolf to the United States, and the Wolf would eventually come up to look up to Big Boss, to whom she referred to as Saladin. After the death of Big Boss, Wolf would be recruited into the Foxhound unit to get her revenge on the world. At this time, the Foxhound unit was comprised of Sniper Wolf, Revolver Ocelot, Psycho Mantis, Decoyed Octopus, Vulcan Raven, and squad leader Liquid Snake. In 2005, Wolf, along with the other members of Foxhound, took part in the infamous Shadow Moses incident. It was during this time that Wolf would encounter two infiltrators named Meryl and Solid Snake. Wolf would seriously injure Meryl, but was forced to retreat in order to face Snake another time. Wolf will get her rematch with Solid Snake in an open field of the Shadow Moses during a blizzard. The two would engage in a fierce sniper shootout in which Snake would emerge victorious. As a last request, Wolf asked to be finished off quick and to be reunited with her rifle, stated that it was a part of her. Moments later, Snake would shoot Wolf in the head and place a handkerchief across her face, stating that he no longer had any more tears to shed. Going by the codename The End, he was born in the early 1860s. The End was a veteran of countless wars, and he was considered to be the world's greatest sniper. Having originated all sniping techniques, he also became known as the father of modern sniping. During World War II, he would be recruited into a special unit of unique soldiers whose sole purpose was to take part in specialized missions for the Allied forces dubbed the Cobras. The Cobra unit was comprised of the Joy, also known as the Boss, the Sorrow, the Pain, the Fear, the Fury, and the End. In August 1964, the Cobras would reunite one last time in order to defect and join forces with Colonel Volgan and the crew. A week after the Cobra's defection, a special agent would infiltrate the Soviet unit and take part in Operation Snake Eater. The agent's codename at the time was Naked Snake. After defeating two of the Cobra members, the Pain and the Fear, Snake would cross paths with the End in an open section of the force, who seeked one last fight before he died. Naked Snake and the End engaged in a subtle shoot-off in the forest, in which Snake emerged victorious. As the End lay dying, he acknowledged his happiness for his final battle with Snake and stated that it was now time for a new generation to rise, and with his last words would explode, ending his life and hopefully becoming one with the forest. What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and I'm here presenting my 8th Versus Series matchup. In the wake of all the big updates and newly released info as we move closer to the release of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, I will be pitting the two most prominent snipers of their particular eras in the Metal Gear Solid franchise. So, without further ado, it's time to send the Hunter of Shadow Moses against the father of modern sniping. Let us begin by comparing them physically. Sniper Wolf was a young human female in her 20s standing 5'7". Being a member of the Foxhound unit assures that Wolf was in prime physical condition to operate on the battlefield. Due to her training under Big Boss, Wolf was more than strong enough to carry heavy weapons while being able to move quickly from cover to cover, which is one of the prime skills needed to be an expert sharpshooter. Her durability was also noted to be somewhat above average. This was shown in her two encounters against Solid Snake, as she was able to keep up the fight despite taking a bullet in the gut and bleeding out. To put it in short, Wolf was one of the most physically honed sharpshooters of her time. The End was an elderly human male standing 5'5", with his official birth placing him somewhere over 100 years old. Because he was very old and incredibly close to death, he would often fall asleep a lot, saving what life he had left for battle. Despite this, when the end was awake, he was surprisingly very mobile and capable of moving from one location to another location much faster than one would expect from a man of his age. The End also had the ability to bulge his eyes out of their sockets, allowing him extra viewing range when looking through the scope of his rifle. The End's most unique physical ability, however, was his ability to be photosynthetic. With this unique ability, the End was capable of gaining stamina by absorbing solar rays, which allowed him to become one with the environment, allowing him to literally blend into his surroundings vegetation, and able to adapt his body's temperature to match that of his environment. In short, the End may be knocking on death's door, but this old dog still has a few tricks that no other sniper can enjoy. I think we can all see where this one is going. The End is in slightly better shape than your average elderly civilian, and with this photosynthetic ability, it means that he would be able to function on the battlefield, but only for a short time. By the time Naked Snake faced the End in Metal Gear Solid 3, he literally was only a couple of days away from dying of natural causes. So the End is clearly in no condition to take part in a long-time shootout with another sniper. Wolf, on the other hand, is in prime physical condition to take part in just about any kind of shootout regardless of length. She literally could go days, if not weeks, without eating or moving and could stay perfectly aware of her environments. When all is said and done, there is no questioning who wins this round. I give Sniper Wolf the edge in physical capabilities. Sniper Wolf carried a standard edition semi-automatic PSG-1 rifle. The PSG-1 was originally designed in 1972, weighing about 15 pounds with a magazine of about 5 rounds. The PSG-1 was not supplied with an iron sights, but comes equipped with a telescopic scope with an illuminated rectal sight. The scope had a built-in range adjustment feature which can be adjusted from 100 to 600 meters, and tests have shown that this weapon had an effective firing range of about 800 meters or 2,625 feet. Wolf also used mercury bullets to poison her victims as well, and although she was an effective sharpshooter with this weapon, she did not kill for sport and did not like harming women and children. The End carried a Mosin Nagant bolt-action rifle. The weapon was developed by the Imperial Russian Army from 1882 to 1891. It weighs about 8 pounds and also carries a round magazine of about 5 rounds. The scope given to this rifle had an adjustable length of about 100 to 400 meters with an effective firing range of about 500 meters or 1,640 feet. The End has extensive experience with this particular weapon, using it in both World Wars. However, his model was modified to fire specialized tranquilizer rounds that were still effective at long range, but were non-lethal due to the End's gentle nature and unwillingness to kill. He would also carry a set of stun grenades that could be used against the enemy if they got too close, but I seriously doubt that they're going to play a factor in this contest. When comparing Sniper Wolf's PSG-1 rifle to the End's Mosin Nagant, I think we can see who clearly has the better weapon just by looking at the facts. The PSG-1 is a semi-automatic rifle, while the Mosin Nagant is a bolt-action rifle. That's a fire rate of 3 to 1. The PSG scope has an adjustable range of 100 to 600 meters, while the Mosin Nagant scope can be adjusted from 100 to 400 meters. The PSG has an effective firing range of 800 meters, while the Mosin Nagant has an effective range of about 500 meters. Wolf uses mercury-coated bullets not just to injure her victims but to poison them at the same time, while the End uses tranquilizer rounds that are non-lethal at all. The facts speak for themselves. I give Sniper Wolf's PSG-1 rifle the edge in weapons. Sniper Wolf's tactics on the battlefield were effective, but unfortunately one-dimensional. Based on Wolf's 2 engagements with Solid Snake, her tactics can be based on this notion. She creates what I like to call an axis line that she uses to shoot from. This axis line is usually made up of a few points of cover, and while engaged, Wolf would gradually move from cover to cover, peeking out only for a moment to take a shot. The problem with this tactic is that her opponents will always know exactly where she is, and all they need to do is position their targeting sights in between the points of cover and just wait for her to peek out or attempt to move from cover to cover, leaving her completely exposed. And Wolf makes no attempt to either increase or decrease the distance between her and her opponents. In short, Wolf would be completely screwed if she was facing someone who had had access to fire artillery. But luckily for her, she won't have to worry about that in this particular matchup. All anyone would need to do in order to beat Sniper Wolf is have a good covering position and a weapon that puts her within an effective firing range. If you've got those two things, you can easily take down Sniper Wolf. The N having the title of being the father of modern sniping means that he would be familiar with just about any sort of sniping techniques used against him due to the fact that he created them. However, the N's favorite tactic seems to be based off of starting off by finding a good sniper's position, firing a few rounds at the target, and whether or not they hit or miss doesn't really matter. He would then begin moving to another location while staying in good covering positions, whether it would be behind rocks, trees, or blending into the environment itself, creating almost perfect camouflage. The main weakness of this tactic is that for a man of his age, it leaves him badly exposed when moving across open areas. And due to his old age, he can't afford to stay in any one position for too long, otherwise he would risk falling asleep on the battlefield and killing over. It also doesn't help that if he is facing someone much younger who is using this exact same tactic against him, it would only be a matter of time before they got the jump on him. What I find really interesting when comparing their tactics is how unexpectedly opposite they are despite their age differences. I find it funny that it's the young woman who chooses to move as little as possible, but it's the old man that chooses to move from point to point more often. They both would have massive weaknesses within their tactics if they were forced to face each other on the battlefield. Because Wolf is so keen on making an axis line and staying there, it means that the N would have no difficulties finding her position. So his main goal would be to try to sneak up onto her location and get her within his effective firing range, putting Wolf in a corner that she would be unable to escape. However, even though Wolf's tactics are painfully predictable, she does have the advantage of having a covering position and a much more effective firing range. So the question is this: could the N get close enough and place her within his firing range before Wolf gets a beat on him? My answer to that is no, or at least not at his age. Because his physical capabilities are such a massive weakness, and due to the limitations of his rifle, it means that he would have to be well within 300 meters within Wolf's effective firing range to even have a chance at hitting her. And I doubt that he will be able to close the distance before Wolf gets a shot on him. And it is for these reasons that I'm giving the tactical edge to Sniper Wolf. I'm sure most of you could see where this fight was going right from the beginning. The bottom line is that the N is simply walking into a fight he has no chance of winning in his condition. Putting aside the fact that the N would be dead in a couple of days anyway if these two chose to do nothing, and it simply comes down to their weapons. Sniper Wolf's PSG-1 rifle has a much better scope, a much farther effective firing range, and is a weapon designed to kill, while the N's Mosin Nagant is simply outclassed in every way. And even though I'm willing to go on record and say that the N's knowledge of sniping means that he would know exactly how to win this fight, he's physically incapable of putting his knowledge to good use. A fight like this would be the equivalent to if, let's say, old Ben Kenobi from A New Hope got into a fight against Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. And I'm sure we all know how a fight like that would play out as. In the End's defense, I do believe that he would be able to win this fight quite easily if he were, say, 50 years younger and both he and Sniper Wolf were using the exact same rifle. If that were the case, then this fight would play out exactly like Wolf's 2 engagements against Solid Snake. If we were to set up this scenario fight, in terms of location, let's say that it's a mixture between the open forest valley from Metal Gear Solid 3 and the open clearing area of Shadow Moses in Metal Gear Solid 1. I would say that this fight would really be decided between 3 stages. Stage 1, Sniper Wolf sets up her access line between 3 points of cover and begins moving from location to location looking for her opponent. Stage 2, the End identifies where Sniper Wolf's location is and begins moving from cover to cover and using his ability to blend into the environment in order to close the distance. However, in Stage 3, Sniper Wolf would see the End moving between cover, trying to close the distance, and before he could get back into cover, she would pop 2 rounds into the End's chest and 1 in the head before he ever got close enough to put his rifle to good use, giving the End his much wanted and desired eternal sleep. I declare Sniper Wolf, the Hunter of Shadow Moses, the victor. Remember, like always, this outcome was my own personal opinion, and feel free to share your thoughts on this particular matchup in the comments down below. And please feel free to like and subscribe to keep track of me and my future Versus Series matchups. And like always, thank you guys for watching, and here's a small preview of my next Versus Series matchup, which I guarantee will not be so one-sided like this particular fight, and is actually a fight that we could end up seeing in the next installment of this popular video game franchise.
So, you've made it this far. Too bad you won't make it much further.
Man that I am, things that I've done, at least it all makes a little bit more sense now.